and welcome. Today we are starting a series called Satsang, and that is a meditative process where you quiet yourself and you let your true self, your I am self, come up. And that personality, you know, that material world that we get so caught up in that we live a laundry list of how am I going to pay my bills? Daddy was mean to me, da 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 da. No, satsang is to live in the moment because that's all we have right here, right now. And because we have this avatar, this bag of water, this body, we are somewhat restrained, restricted, controlled by the metaphors of the body. Jane teased to see that John Birmingham's going to let you stay at the school. She texted me that. And others have said, so you've got another place to stay. No, I'm living in my car, right? And last night it was 23 degrees below zero, right? But, Thanksgiving, a couple days before it, like Tuesday, I live near the AT, and a number of homeless people came up to AT and came to visit me. And around Thanksgiving, Thursday, Saturday, Sunday, they kind of left around Sunday. I had about 40 people, right? And they had nothing. Meaning, I have a car. I can turn on the heat. Um, I have a little deep green that has tarps and a few boxes. But these guys had nothing. So I gave away more than half of my lauder. Meaning, lauder is that stuff you save up for winter. So I gave more than half of it away to those folks. And I also spent my last $100 um, to go to Walmart's and buy a good can opener because somebody had a can opener. So I bought 15 can openers. And because most of them were individuals, the military guys had themselves specced out, but the other folks didn't. And more than half of those 40 people had a job before this, right? Was paying the rent, paying the electric bill, paying all that. But um, even though you hear that, oh, you're not supposed to throw people out, they got thrown out. And there are about 42 million Americans that had a job, that had a house, that had a life, that had kids, and they're now on the street, and the kids don't go to school, and that going to school was their only meal, right? So that song is where you sit in silence and let things come up. Now people go, oh, I can't meditate. I have in my mind. That's it, your mind. It's the squirrel. I can't talk about your mind as being a squirrel in a cage, and that's it. And let all those things come up. So I was sitting waiting online in my car, and someone was talking to somebody else, and I was like, on a hill, and all they had to do was pull up about 3 feet, and then I could, put my car on level ground. But they wouldn't. I'm talking here, and that riled me up. But I had to say, why am I getting riled up? And that's what satsang's really good about. If you honestly go into satsang, all these things will come up, and then you can honestly see what is the cause of all of these things, right? And so from the Monday before Thanksgiving until through today, I everything because that Tuesday before Thanksgiving, I had an amazing dream. There's a if you go to YouTube and you look for Gangaji, and she's a how can you describe a gifted wonder, a Indian Sufi, a blessed holy person. But I knew Gan Gaji back when she was Tammy, back in the early 70s when I was teaching at the Newark College of Engineering. I was um, their, technical head of their theater, right? And it was an engineering school. They didn't need a theater, but it was a great theater. I mean, it had a fly, it had everything a real theater. It was made by George and George, and that's kind of how I got the gig. Is that I was working for Lester Polikoff because he's one of the greatest designers at that time. He had worked for Joe Melziner, who brought electricity to theater, and Lester had been part of that, and so I was his best boy, right? And the best boy goes off and does everything the designer does, like the designer. And Lester was in his 90s then, and he was at the Boston Opera. He was at Lincoln Center. He had things on Broadway. He couldn't run around, so I did. I did all the running around. So, and George and George was, if you go Google George and George, they're one of the largest, most prestigious theater builders in the world, right? The guys, and they're really specialized in doing specialized theaters. When they did Cats, they did Cats.